think I need to keep being creative. Not to prove anything, but because it makes me happy to just do it. Willie Nelson. So I posted this quote recently, and I really wanted to create a vlog surrounded by that. I feel like I took a lot of inspiration from that, and I feel like you may have taken a lot of inspiration from that as well. Now, I stole that quote from Austin Kleon in his book, Keep Going, but Austin Kleon also wrote a book called Steal Like an Artist. So I'm going to steal this idea like an artist. If you don't know who Austin Kleon is, it's a good idea to check him out. He's a really awesome individual, really awesome human being who specializes in art and creativity. And even if you don't think you're an artist, honestly, his books are amazing to read. They're a really short read. And since you don't have much to do right now while you're self-quarantining, it's probably a good idea to pick up that book and read it. So the thing that I want to talk about today is art. Creating art for art's sake. Now, we live in a world where the highest compliment you give somebody today is for them to monetize what it is that they're good at. You know, you have somebody who's a really good baker. Maybe they make some really good cookies or cupcakes or things like that. And what's the compliment we give them? Oh man, you should sell these. You should start a business. You should make business cards and you should sell these because they're so delicious. Someone makes a nice scarf or knits a hat or knits a blanket, and we do the same thing. Oh man, you should open up an Etsy store. Like, this is so awesome. People would love to buy this. Which I'm sure the people who are receiving those compliments are flattered by those compliments because you're basically saying that your stuff is good enough for people to buy it. However, one of the things that Austin Kleon talks about in his books is art for art's sake and keeping some things to yourself and not necessarily needing to monetize things or turn them into side hustles, but to do them just because you love them. Because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when we monetize things, it loses its, creative luster. It doesn't become as happy or satisfying anymore because now it becomes a job. I have to do this in order to make money versus I just like to do this. I like to come home, I like to garden, or on my way to work, I take Bart and I just like to knit because it just puts me in the zone and it's my zen. Or when I get home from work, I like to bake because it just allows me to decompress. And maybe that's why I like to bake. Like, for example, my dad. If anybody here who's watching knows my dad, everybody knows that my dad loves to make lumpia. And everybody loves his lumpia. And everybody tells him that he should open up his own lumpia shop or this and that, or his lumpia is just that good. However, my dad doesn't make lumpia to make money. He makes lumpia because it brings people together. He loves to take his time. He doesn't rush. He listens to his music. He pops in his AirPods, or excuse me, his earbuds, and he's listening to like Black Eyed Peas and things like that while he's rolling this lumpia. And he does it because he knows it brings people together. In fact, my dad loves cooking just for that. It doesn't have to be somebody's birthday or celebration for this. He loves to cook because it's the act of bringing people together, right? Art for art's sake. So, to go back to that quote, what Willie Nelson talked about of, he said, I think I need to continue being creative. Not to prove anything, but because it makes me happy just to do it. Now, last June, I published a book. And leading up to that book, I spent 6 years on that project. And it was just everything. I mean, there was a lot of side projects in between, like creating a documentary for it, or Photoshop, or video editing, or designing the cover. All these little things that go into this project. But it was geared towards a project. It wasn't necessarily art for art's sake. I mean, there's hints of it here and there. But there was a direction, there was a focus, there was a reason I wanted to inspire people with the story, etc., etc., etc. Fast forward. After I published the book, my wife and I go on this 3-month trip. It's our 1-year late honeymoon / 1-year anniversary. And I come back and I kind of hit this little creative slump. For the last 6 years of my life, I was working on this project and I felt like now I don't have anything to work on. Like, what do I work on? Now, there were a lot of ideas while I was working on the book that I wanted to kind of revisit, but they just fell second in priority to Exit the Dragon. One of those ideas was starting a vlog, which, ta-da, we started it. Another is a martial thought reboot, which might happen during the self-quarantine, however long it takes. And then just to do cool things because it's fun to do and it's cool to create. So, that leads me into this project. If you follow me on social media, you probably saw me post a picture called Dance Battle. And that project is simply art for art's sake. I was inspired by Austin Kleon to kind of create the project of just doing things because it's fun. And I think about why I got into the martial arts, and I got into the martial arts because it was fun. I mean, mainly because my brother was already doing it, but I loved martial arts. I loved Ninja Turtles. I loved just watching X-Men and pretending I was Wolverine and doing all these things. And martial arts was like real life swordplay for me. You know, even as an adult, like that's what it is. Like I don't have to pretend to be these characters. Like I am that character. When I get in the ring, when I put on my gloves, when I go spar, like I am that superhero that I dreamed of becoming because I can now do those things. Anyways, I'm digressing. But I wanted to create this project called Dance Battle. I actually talk about it in chapter 10 of Exit the Dragon. It's after I break my leg, kind of in a time like right now where there's nothing to do and there's nowhere to go. And I was in deep thought. I was studying a lot of Bruce Lee at the time. And it was after one of my doctor's visits, and I went to the den and I was shadow boxing and I was hitting the bag, and I started to have all these crazy revelations. I had music on and I was dancing and the lights were off, and I was just like, all of a sudden dancing and shadow boxing were blending, and I didn't know if I was dancing or if I was fighting. And then the same thing started happening when I was hitting the bag. You know, I found this rhythm and I was no longer hitting the bag, I was dancing with the bag. We were sharing the same breath, we were sharing the same movement. It was a dance, it was a play. I was going back to this state of play, you know, like what a child has, of this imaginative play where everything is possible. You know, most of us as adults have lost that idea. And I realized that when we're in this state of play, that's where the flow is. That's when you get in the zone. When you're just having fun, you're not thinking about it, you're just moving, you're just grooving, you're in it, you know? Because really there is no difference between dancing and fighting. I mean, okay, yes, technically there's a difference, but those are the numerators. Dancing, cooking, drawing, writing, fighting. These are all the numerators of what's happening here. But the denominator is you. In everything that you do, it's always you. You expressing yourself. Now, the second inspiration that I had for this project was Kevin Pride. Kevin is one of my really good friends. He actually did the illustration on the back of this cover right here. Let's see if we can get that in there. Bow. But he comes over, well, before this whole COVID-19 thing, he would come over 3 to 4 times a week, and we would work on his boxing. And I would use music a lot as an analogy to teach him about the rhythm and timing of fighting, because he is a musician. And in the process, we would talk about music and, like I said, the rhythm and the timing and the cadence and the space between the notes and having fun and playing. You play music. You don't work music. You play music. You enjoy it. You express yourself. And so I kind of wanted to bring that same energy to martial arts, because if you've ever watched me spar, or if you've ever sparred me, you know that I like to play a lot when I spar. I like to play with my food. I actually don't ever really like to go in for the kill, because then the fun is over. So yeah, I created this project called Dance Battle, which I will be releasing very, very shortly. Probably a few posts after you're watching this one right here. And it's really just art for art's sake. You know, I hope that you guys are using this time where we can't really do anything or go out to be creative. Go back to things, go back to old things in new ways. If you used to draw as a kid, as a second grader, go back to drawing. Go get a coloring book, print some stuff out on a computer and color it. You know, make something, cut things up, rip up a magazine, glue it together. Like, start to use your hands. If you're at home with your kids, play with your kids. Like, legit, play with your kids. Don't entertain them, don't put some TV on for them. Play with them. Build a fort with them, tie a shirt around your neck, put it as a cape, imaginative play, like be whatever superhero they want you to be and go. Go hunt for crickets or whatever it is, play. Get back into that state of play. That, my friends, is where the magic happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this vlog off right now, but like I said, keep creating. You know, I hope you guys are creating. I hope you guys are still practicing gratitude. I hope you guys are using this time wisely. So until next time, stay safe. I love y'all. Peace.